I'd like to call the meeting of the French Creek Council of Governments to order with a pledge allegiance to the flag. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Public comment, is there any public comment? Hearing none, we'll bypass that. Administrative matters. I need a approval of the July 20th, 2017 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Need a motion to approve the treasurer's report, which is enclosed.
So moved.
Jay, was that you, Jay? Who did that? Oh,
Fritz.
Fritz, I'm sorry. Second by anyone?
Second.
Jay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Lori?
I need a motion to ratify the payments to Cambridge Springs Tire Company in the amount of $169.50. Mahatango Enterprises of $2,868.50, and Meadville Auxiliary Police for $100. And this is all from the tire event.
Okay, I think we'll just do all three of the checks together. I need a motion to make payment of these checks.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Advertise meeting schedule dates, which is enclosed.
What about the budget? See,
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the budget. Okay, let me back up and we'll approve the 2018 budget, which is enclosed.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any further discussion on that? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, now we'll do 2018 meeting schedule dates, which is enclosed also. Need a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. And authorize the administrative secretary to send delegate selection letters in December.
Make that motion.
Second. Christopher. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Zach Norwood, Crawford County Planning Commission Land Use and GIS Updates. You're up. Good morning.
All right. Thank you all for having me this morning. For those of you that I've not met, my name's Zach Norwood. As said, I'm the director of Crawford County's Planning Office. And I could talk to you probably all morning about land use planning in Crawford County, but I'm going to try to keep it pretty brief and give you a little overview of what we do, talk about a policy change that's going to be happening here in Crawford County that may affect some of your municipalities, it may not, and then give you an update on our GIS platform in the county. Okay, so the first thing is, if you don't know what we do, the Crawford County Planning Office assists local municipalities in managing future land use decisions and future community building. Okay, so we manage grants, we assist with subdivision land development ordinances, zoning ordinances, pretty much anything under the sun dealing with our local communities and the future of those communities. Okay, and if you need some information, I've got some handouts here, some flyers that we put together about subdivisions and land developments and what we do. Okay. One of the things that a lot of your municipalities probably have been asking for 10 plus years that the county has not done to this point is consolidation of properties, right? So whenever a property owner buys a house, it makes it on one lot, one piece of land, but it may be made up of 2 or 3 pieces of land for that property. What we at the county have done for 60+ years is that we have only subdivided out properties. The county assessment office has not consolidated anything to keep chain titles and for internal reasons. Due to some recent events that have happened internally and some passing of some new ordinances, specifically the Uniform Parcel Identifier last year, the county has sort of shifted our policy, and we are going to now, as of January 1st, 2018, start doing consolidations of properties on our tax record, okay? And I have a handout here I'm gonna take and hand out to you guys, pass around to give you some information on it, because it's really important to understand who's eligible, who's not, and what the requirements are with it, right? So let's start off first with the who's eligible. The municipalities that have a local land use regulation, so if your community has a zoning ordinance or a subdivision land development ordinance, you are eligible to do a consolidation. The assessment office, the planning office will work with you to do that. If you do not have a local land use regulation in your community, if your township or borough does not have something, the policy is not going to change. We will not be doing consolidations for your community, for your municipality. The reason for this is that our shift is to better align with you at the local level and what you are requesting or requiring of your citizens to manage future land use and growth. So if you, for example, have a requirement in one of your ordinances that a property structure cannot be built across a property line, and they have to consolidate 2 properties to build that structure. By us not allowing for consolidations to happen, we're essentially preventing your property owners in your community to do the things that you want them to do. And so that's why we're changing our policy, is to better align with you at the local level on what you are requesting of your citizens. So the second question is, well, how does this work? Because obviously there's something new that's gonna go on. And I can't give you all of the details right now because we're working through them at the county level. But what I can tell you is there will be an application form that you'll pick up from the planning office. And that'll be the first step of any resident that wants to consolidate properties. They'll come to the planning office on the 3rd floor of the courthouse, and we will work with them to get them through the process and give them guidance. There will be an application that we'll have on hand and talk through what they need to do. They will also need to seek a surveyor to get an accurate survey of the properties that they want to combine and have that shown. They'll need to get a deed written up that will be a consolidation deed rather than writing up or having the deeds written up as parcel A, parcel B. The intent is to have one single parcel on that deed. So they'll need to have a new deed written up, and then they'll have to have a uniform parcel identifier, or UPI application. The UPI and the survey is nothing new. That's already existing right now, required by the assessment office to record a deed. What's changing, or what would change, is if you want to consolidate properties, it's not gonna affect everyone, but the people that wanna consolidate properties will need to do the application form for consolidation and have a new deed written up. Okay. On the handout, there's a whole sort of process written out of who you go to, who you see, and sort of, the steps going through that. For the sake of time, I'm not going to run through all of it here with you, but it's pretty lengthy there to explain what it is. And from a resident standpoint, we tried to cut it down and make it as simple as possible. We understand there's already enough hoops to jump through with government to get what you want to do with your properties at times, so we tried to make this as simple as possible. I think there's only 4 stops that you have to make by the time this all gets done. So that's the change in our internal policies on consolidation of properties. With that, I'm gonna actually take a second and ask if anyone has any questions before I shift into the GIS conversation.
I do.
Okay.
No, go ahead, Dave.
So for the previous developments, let's just use Walmart for the sake of anything else, it's actually sitting on 4 or 5 parcels.
Sure.
Right? That we never recognized the lot lines. We
Right.
did away with them when they built the building, but Joe doesn't. He keeps the lot lines.
Right.
I never understood why he did, but he did. So now if it'd be up to them to come to you and say, we want the lot lines gone.
Correct. So if your municipality already recognizes those lot lines not being there, and you've already made a local determination not to worry about it, then there's no issue necessarily for them staying as 4 separate parcels. What we want to do is allow for local municipalities and property owners to have the option to consolidate. And so if you already have done all of your work and you have a building that's sitting, for example, like Walmart, potentially on 2 or 3 different properties, and you want to come in and have it changed on the books, have it changed on the record, as long as you have a survey or a survey has already been done that shows what those boundaries are, you've got a new deed ready to go, and you've completed the 2 applications, starting January 1st, 2018, we will do what we need to do internally at the county courthouse to make it reflect accurately on the tax assessment records. You're good?
I understand it.
Yep. Okay.
My question was very similar to his, because I'm thinking we already do a lot line nullification paperwork that gets recorded at the courthouse, because if we kind of consolidate, just like he said with Walmart, we allow people to do that currently now. We will no longer have to do that lot line nullification paperwork?
If your municipality chooses not to, you can still do it if you want and then not have it be reflected on the tax rolls. But if you want for the tax rolls to reflect it, if you want for the GIS system at the county to reflect it, and you want for it to show as one property, then you would require your applicant, require residents to go through this process, and then all of that will be done on our rolls. The cleaning up of the deeds is really important from a standpoint that then it allows for the property owner to understand that they own one single piece of land. What we've run into recently, and one of the reasons why this is coming up or has come up, is because we've had local communities in our county contact the planning office and say, I have a property owner that's frustrated, they purchased a piece of land and it's got half of a house built on it. The other piece of land is owned by someone else and the house splits 2 lines. What do I tell them? What do I do? So it's not like this is an abnormal situation where properties or structures are built on multiple pieces of land. The hope is that this shift in policy and change will alleviate future issues that we've been running into recently.
And they'll receive 1 tax bill.
They
like
will
any-
ultimately receive 1 tax bill, yes. What the county does not want to do is, this is not a program to encourage residents to apply solely because they want to receive 1 tax bill. That's not the intention of this. The intention of this program is for it to be attached to a land use regulation, land use requirement at a local level to comply with what you are requesting in your community. And so we are in the application process in what the county's requiring is the local municipality is gonna have to sign off and say, we authorize that there is a land use requirement attached to this request. And so you're gonna have to sign on the application part, saying you've reviewed the request, you agree there's a land use requirement to it, and you are seeking the county's assistance in nullifying the lot lines.
Okay, so like the previous subdivisions, that like, to use Walmart, you could use Sandray Corporation down here, it's actually on like 5 lots, but it's been re-subdivided. And that's already been done, but Joe just never did it at the assessment office, he kept the lot lines. So those subdivisions that you put recommendations on that the township's all approved, are you gonna do those as well, or
If
it's requested?
If the applicant comes back and
I
they
got
request
it.
it, we will
Right.
do all of it.
Yeah, 'cause I
There's been
heard-
so many of them across the county over the years in all of the
I used to
municipalities
ask
that have
Joe,
done
I said, Joe,
things.
why don't we bother with this subdivision process and you will change the lines on the maps? He
Right.
never did.
So if the request comes in and
Yeah.
to consolidate and change those lines, we will do so. We will not change anything unless a request comes in.
Okay, yeah, I got you. All right.
Is there gonna be a fee assessed
We're
to
moving forward.
for the paperwork?
There's no fee for this policy.
And it'll be something that the staff can review and take care of. It won't have to wait for any meetings through
No,
planning.
there's no meeting process, it's just an application. There's no review or approvals from the planning commission. It is done similarly to how the UPI is currently done. It's an application that'll go to the assessment office, but there's no fee associated with that application. Okay. Any other questions about the shift in policy change? Okay, hopefully, as we're over the next couple months, before January 1st, we'll get all of the kinks figured out and then make sure that it's a smooth transition and that your communities have something that works for you rather than against you. But on the topic of GIS, because I know we had talked prior to this policy change coming into place, and Jill had asked for me to come to talk about GIS. The big change in the Crawford County GIS, which you may have seen or you may not have, is that the county has recently brought on board or approved bringing on board a GIS manager. And so starting again, January 1st, 2018, the county will be having a GIS manager for our system, which allows for our staff as well as many of the other county departments to better facilitate and better utilize the technology for helping your communities. And so what does that mean? What it means is, especially in my office, which works with local municipalities, all of your communities on a first-hand basis, we come out and do things, we're gonna be able to better leverage this technology to know what is on the ground for you and get you databases, get you spreadsheets, get you information, inventories of what is in your community. That may look like a database of manholes. That may look like a database of your signs on your township roads. That may look like a database of pictures of blighted houses in your community that you want to target or address. So the sky is almost the limit with GIS. It's just a matter of us getting ramped up, understanding what it looks like, and how we interact and coordinate the program and coordinate working with your community to get something that works for you. Many of you have probably worked or have gone on our GIS website and have used that website. It's probably the number one thing that a lot of abstractors and surveyors and everyone utilizes. In the future, the goal is to get additional layers, additional information out there. So zoning maps will probably be put out there at some point here in the near future. That's one of the goals from my office's standpoint, is to try to get additional public information out to the public that should be easily accessible. Where all of the parks and trails in the county could be on that GIS map to allow for residents to go out and look where recreational facilities in their community or neighboring communities are. So we've got some big plans for GIS, and how we've leveraged it up until this point has been sort of I want to say the best that the county has been able to do, but with bringing on this additional staff member, our hope is to better facilitate efforts in your communities as well as county-wide efforts with this robust technology.
What about the cost? How will that be paid for? Is it something that
So
individuals?
the cost of the individual or the cost of assistance?
Anything.
So the cost of the position is being split internally by multiple departments in-house, so everything is being covered by the county. There isn't a cost associated with the position coming out to the local municipalities. The assistance or working with the individuals doing projects, we don't charge now for it, and so I don't foresee necessarily that policy changing. The same way you would call into my office and ask for assistance with a zoning ordinance or assistance reviewing a regulation you're looking to put in, or a comprehensive long-range plan for your community. We wouldn't be doing anything different from that standpoint. If you're seeking printing of maps or creation of maps, we do already charge for that, and so we have a fee schedule set up in the county. We have, if you're looking for the data, if you're looking for the actual numbers and figures and values, we already charge for that. Those things are already in place, but there won't be any new charges that we've determined at this point. Any questions on that? Okay. I've either bored you all, or you were all extremely tired after curling last night. So, but thank you all for having me. And again, if anyone has any questions, I'm right across the street. I've got business cards here, and I'm always available to help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Alan Kluger
Pass those.
from PA Electronic Government Consortium Document Scanning Program.
Thanks.
You're up.
Thank you. Zach is actually the perfect lead-in for me here because of the potential and tremendous ties to the GIS. Okay, so some of you will know me and others will know of me probably. I'm Alan Kugler. I'm the principal at PA Futures, which is a Pennsylvania statewide civic and governmental affairs consulting organization. And prior to that, I was with the Pennsylvania Economy League, and I was actually the consultant to the formation of the French Creek COG. And when was that? That had to be approaching 20 years, in the 90s sometime, when Charlie Anderson was director of the chamber here.
I was on the board.
Pardon me?
That was the first time I was on the board.
Okay, yeah, so you people know me here. So I'm here with a couple hats on, but primarily it's not the PA Futures hat. But I'm gonna tell you a little story. This is gonna go quick here. So, as I've been doing projects through the years, for the last 40 years on intergovernmental stuff, once we got to this century, the turn of the century, it really started becoming obvious to me that the local governments are way behind the curve in how they're handling technology, and really need to be brought up to speed, because that ties to economic development, it ties to the vibrancy of our communities, it ties to efficiency in local government, ties to intergovernmental cooperation, all of those things that I think we're all trying to do. So I started building recommendations into my reports that the government should upgrade their technology. And starting about 2006 or 7, that actually started getting picked up on. And so we were able to get projects around that. And in fact, I think our early discussions coming here probably led to Jill doing the website and all of those things happening around that time, where the French Creek COG got actually very good in using technology. And so I started building that into my reports. And we started doing a big project with the Erie Area Council governments on e-government. But what we found is that is not enough. And so we got a grant for me to do another report on making additional recommendations. And in this report, I recommended the formation of a statewide organization that would focus on helping municipalities and nonprofit organizations upgrade their digital technologies. And I've named it in the report the Pennsylvania Electronic Government Consortium. And that is now formed, and that's a 501c3 corp that we're trying to get off the ground and move forward with. Now, one of the things that we're finding, of course, as we're trying to do programs for the consortium, is that when you go around to the municipalities, what you find is a tremendous amount of paper in boxes that has been put away somewhere, often dates back to the 1800s, that is deteriorating as we speak, and you can't even touch it. I was hearing stories about that last night. And so the consortium wants to do a program that is going to emphasize that legacy paper that is out there and try to get it scanned for the municipalities. And we're getting partners for this. In fact, one of the partners is PACOG, is the Pennsylvania Association of Councils of Governments, of which the French Creek COG is a member. So we're going to have a joint, at the board meeting, at the conference this past weekend, the PACOG board endorsed a partnership with PAEGovC to do this scanning program. And so this is actually, I'm actually here with a PACOG hat on. So your membership dues have me here, I guess, in some little way. All right, so it's PACOG, Pennsylvania Electronic Government Consortium, and there's going to be other sponsors. And so what we're doing is trying to get a read on how much paper might be out there at the municipalities. This is millions and millions of pages of documents that need to be scanned. And we're trying to go out on a statewide basis and raise the money, raise the millions of dollars that it is going to take to do this, to go to the largest foundations, to go to the principal corporations throughout the state, maybe the Commonwealth itself. I have actually little faith in the Commonwealth itself for this, but in the private sector, because people understand that there's a tie between dealing with all this data and improving the technologies in local government and the ultimate vitality of our communities. And there's a tie right into the GIS stuff. All right, and so we're trying to put together this program. We would like to work with the COGs. It's really important to me that we work with and support the intergovernmental organizations like the councils of governments, because they are the means to get to the local municipalities without skipping around those intergovernmental groups, to work with the COGs. And so I'm hoping that the French Creek COG will allow and help and support us going out with a little survey to try to get at how much paper might be in the governments that are the members of the French Creek COG. And then we'll build that whole into the project. And the goal, and people who know me know I'm sincere about this, the goal is that this is not going to cost the municipalities anything at all. The only cost would be the time to help prepare for the scanning and to help supervise that scanning as it takes place at the local municipalities. So what we see is hiring a third-party vendor who knows what they're doing, and they'll bring vehicles to the municipalities, and in the course of a week, scan the paper that's at the municipalities. And then we work back with the municipalities as to how that's going to be stored and how it's going to be made available internally and externally to the public if they want to do it. I have no particular agenda about that other than it be stored in some way that is secure. And so I'm a little loath just to put it in PCs and stored under desks and things like that. It can go there too, but it really needs to be in some secure systems. And so we'll work that all through, but I'm not going to force that with any municipalities. The whole goal is to get this data scanned before it's gone. Just talking with governments all over the place, like I'm the consultant to the Warren County COG, people probably know that. One of the municipalities there is Deerfield Township. They recently lost 23 boxes of paper. They have no idea where it is. Secretaries take it to their homes and then it's gone. And so all this is being lost. And so if we can get it scanned, if we can get it digitized and then made available, then the paper can be boxed away properly and in partnership with the Historical Museum Commission, probably get it stored in salt mines or wherever, because you'll have it electronically. And it'll still be your paper though, but it won't be necessarily in the municipal offices waiting for fires and floods to come. So that's it. So I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm not a vendor. I'm trying to look for partnerships that will support the municipalities working through the intergovernmental organizations such as the French Creek COG, and bringing resources to bear on that. This is actually a great program for COGs. There's no threat to the municipalities. It's not about merger consolidation, anything like that. This is trying to help them to improve their own capacities. And it leads to other things, such as ties to GIS. This data can all be made available to GIS, and you can figure out how to get it in there and what layers to take from that. This is huge. This is just huge. So that's it. Questions?
So this would be available through the consortium, available on a website somewhere?
No, this
or
will be
we
a
would
program.
maintain for each of the municipalities?
Yeah.
Their own information?
Yeah, it's their own, it's the
electronically?
municipal information.
So we would be able to choose with what we want to
Yeah, yeah. And you can do it, looking at record retention stuff and all kinds of things. And I don't want to force any of that. I just want to get the data scanned. It needs to be scanned that the municipalities want to have scanned before it gets lost.
So you want to send out a survey?
Yeah,
now?
I mean, I sent it to Jill. It's a little survey that just tries to get at, where did I put the second page? And I don't have copies here, we'll send it out. But it's just a little survey with a letter saying what the program is, and just a one-pager that I hope the municipal secretaries don't have to spend much time on, and just estimate how much paper they might have. I don't even care if it's accurate. Okay, what I'm trying to do is show that there's a lot of interest in it, and that there's a lot of paper out there. In fact, the more paper there is, the better, because the better chance we're gonna have to get big support for this stuff. And so like Union City Borough sent it back to us, they had 310,000 pages they're saying needs to be scanned. So who knows what all they have, they probably have paper all up in their attic there in the city, Borough building. And others are giving us tens of thousands of pages. I'm waiting for the city of Warren's to come in, I'm expecting millions there from the city of Warren. They really haven't done much scanning at all as far as I understand. The city of Corey is expected to participate in this once they get past their November election politics, stuff like that, that's a joke. But, and so that's it. So if the COG is okay with it, I don't know if you need a motion or what, just to allow me to work with Jill to bring this little survey to the member governments. There's no commitment to do anything, and just to try to get an idea of how much paper there might be within the individual and member governments of the French Creek COG.
Does someone want to put that in a form of a motion? Or we just want to, everyone just be happy with it and let them do it? Whatever you think.
I don't see any reason why she couldn't send it out.
Yeah.
It's just a survey, it's not like it's official
Right.
documentation.
Okay, then we'll just, if no one has any objections to it, we'll have them send it out.
Thank you very much. I care about Crawford County and the municipalities in Crawford County and the French Creek COG. I've spent my whole career around this stuff, trying to make things happen so that we have communities in the future that people want to invest their lives in. And this is one of those really important things. So thank you, and I will work it with Jill. Okay?
Good.
Thanks, Al.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jill, you are up on the COG tire event.
I think I'll go over it real quick, and then if Sean or Brenda or anybody from the tile committee wants to add anything, we can do that. I went ahead and passed around a PowerPoint, and we'll make this available on our website. I'm just gonna kind of hit the highlights. The third page in, the funding sources, we had some sponsorships from Brian's Auto Repair, Marquette Savings Bank, Tim Hortons, Pals donated a porta potty. We want to say thank you very much to all of those sponsors. Then the Crawford Heritage Foundation had given us a $750 grant. The PA Department of Environmental Protection will give us a $1,515 grant. We went ahead and sent in all of the information to get the reimbursement for that. People came, they paid $1 a tire. The commissioners had given us $1,000 under the Act 13. We've already turned in all of the paperwork for that, so we're looking for the reimbursement after the fact. You can kind of read through some of these. The next kind of sheet that's really interesting is, it's the red sheet with a map of Crawford County. It talks about where the tires came from. We try and highlight in red with the number of tires underneath it. So we had a few places that brought a number of tires with different people, but the totals are on there. We ended up getting rid of 1,288 total tires brought by 104 county residents. So we filled the trailer.
Yes,
And we
we
filled
did.
the trailer in a couple of hours as normal, so that's always a good thing. We ended up having, Crawford County brought some tires, the city of Meadville. There were 7 boroughs and 19 different townships. So I'm kind of going through kind of quick. You can read at your own leisure, but one of the interesting things was the amount of people, how they heard about it. Most people, just in years past, have heard about it in the Meadville Tribune, so that was 60% of the people. But we had a big increase this year, thanks to Sean and Andy Walker and a lot of us sharing everything on Facebook. 23% of the residents heard about it on Facebook or on our websites, things of that nature. So, of course, the tires weren't landfilled. They went ahead and everything that got sent to Mahantango and even Cambridge Tire is going to be ground and recycled into other products, so that's kind of a big proponent of the DEP grant application. They don't wanna see the things just landfilled. I kind of went over the costs here by telling you the grant application from DEP, and we had money and sponsorships, donations. The fees received the day of the event, we had $869 that came in that way. You can see the cost breakdown from a hand tango and the Cambridge Tire as far as the recyclers were $3,038. We had to buy insurance from BJ Petruso, which is now Northwest Savings. Whoops, there's a typo there. But $327.50 it cost us for insurance. Meadville Auxiliary Police, we gave a $100 donation to, because I'll tell you what, we can't say enough about the APs. I mean, a lot of times they help with the fair and different activities, but I say thank you very much to them. They do a great job. We had water and flyer supplies for the tune of like $25.46, so $25 was very minimal. A lot of everything is all volunteer or donated, so we really are pretty streamlined. This is our fifth event, so we've gotten pretty good at it. We've got a lot of the same people doing the same things, and you know, we're pretty streamlined. Maybe I'll stop there. Just to kind of give you a heads up, as far as throughout the years, we usually do anywhere from 1,200 to 1 year we did 1,600 tires. So our total so far, in the 5 events we've had, we've gotten rid of 6,510 tires. So that's a pretty good sum of tires just coming out of Crawford County for 5 events. We put some pictures in here. Obviously, we like to kind of say thanks to everybody, and once again, the AP officers, Denny and Debbie Milkovich, Dan Ridgway, Jonathan Dennison, Tim Scott, and Glenn Mitchell. Once again, great job. And then as far as all of the volunteers, John Amato had Meadville football players that came. They were down and dirty up in the trench.
It was great.
They did a lot of
I will tell you
work.
what, yeah, they did all the heavy work.
And there was a number of other ones, even Autumn Robbins, we had a few girls that came and helped, and they were just as
They
dirty,
did, yeah, it
loading the
was
tires, so.
Fantastic.
Yep. We had a lot of different people that helped, everybody from like Debbie Coral, who did a lot of the grant. Her and I kind of worked back and forth. She's with the city. Woodcock, Jason Crawford, and Randy Chess. Lau, you were there. Bill Rosenberger was there. Sean was there. We had a number of different, Francis Wiederspan was there too. Brian Williams, Jill Withy. I know I'm forgetting people. Deb Merritt and her son Jonathan. He's been there for how many events now? He does a great job. You know, Renee Hayes, Lori takes money. Really, I can't say enough of how great everybody is. Yeah, my mom. I recruited my mom. So.
Hey Jill, how about Brenda Schmidt from the...
Brenda Schmidt from the good answer. And really, we couldn't kind of include her as the volunteer for the grant because she's the Crawford County Solid Waste Coordinator. But she kind of pulled all of this together and recommended the grant, so thank you very much, Brenda. So there, I'm done. Anybody else have anything to say?
Well, I'd say thank you very much to Jill. If anyone pulls anything together, holy cats, my goodness, great job, and even had thank you letters sent out for all those good folks, the kids especially who came out to help.
Yeah.
And those kids were phenomenal. John did a great job for us, a great group. And not only did they get down and dirty, before they get started, they got to sit with me and do paperwork. So I don't know if you see how cute we are sitting here at the picnic table doing our little paperwork here in the corner. And they were adorable. So thank you. It's a great opportunity for folks. And as we've been, the Solid Waste Authority has been conducting the solid waste study in the county, people have been asking, like, what do we do with tires? And it was fun to educate them on the flip side and say, hey, the COG does an event every other year. And of course, Cambridge Tire is available. And folks have indicated that they feel it is a need. It's a good thing for us to have, and they're pleased that we do it. So excellent. I'm glad that the COG continues this program. Thank you.
Covered it.
Man, a few words.
She's got it. I'm glad to see it happen every other year.
Yeah, it was
Keep
great.
up the good work.
Great. I feel sorry for the guy that come in with the trailer with about 50 tires on at the end and there was no room for him.
He was pretty nice about it. too.
Yeah.
So that was,
We worked it out,
Good,
yes. We didn't turn any tires away.
okay,
And he was able to get rid of them, so that was a good thing.
all right. Jay, you need a little information to be sent out here for us?
Sure, well, I don't have a PowerPoint presentation like Jill did, but we did
He
have
doesn't work.
an electronics recycling event on Saturday, October 7th. And scale-wise, you know, it's nowhere near as big a production and we don't do what you do with the tires, but the really good news is that this year, we brought in 8,400 pounds of electronic waste. And again, this is a much smaller scale. We don't, for lack of a better word, I don't have the coordination skills that you have, Jill, and your team, but we think that over the 3 years that we've done it, we've brought in over 36,000 pounds of electronic waste. So if you think about it, that's like 18 tons of waste that, you know, you keep from going into landfills or ending up in places we all don't want it to end up, you know. And I've seen TVs deposited in places, I'm like, what's that doing there? So I guess the good news is that it continues to be successful. Our poundage was down this year, and I take a little responsibility on that because I ran out of time advertising and marketing that like I normally would. I had a few other things going on right now, but what I wanted to let you know is that the people that come out are very supportive. They love the fact that when they are asked to pay for recycling, which, you know, that's a concept that not everybody normally accepts, but when they're asked to pay for some recycling, if they know it's going to a good cause, they felt better about it. And we had a number of people tell us that because it's going to the rec complex, they wanted to support us. So I think I mentioned we brought in 8,400 pounds. This year, when you net out the cost of, you know, there's some cost to handling some of these, for lack of a better word, the chemicals and the things that go into things like TV screens and computer monitors. It's not, you know, all money making. Some of it, there's a cost to dispose of it properly, and Lincoln helps us with that. But the actual check will be for $2,000 to the rec complex, so we're very excited about that. And I've got to thank them. You know, it's Lincoln Recycling and Flix TV and Hagen Business Machines. And this year we had Plaza Car Wash donated the traffic cones to let us use so we could keep traffic flowing. And it actually is quite a nice event because it is fairly easy for people to do the right thing. And we try to make it so that it's efficient, so that people can come through, do their recycling drop off and be on their way. I guess the good news is we had great weather for the people doing it. The bad news is when you have great weather, I think people sometimes find other things to do, but that's okay. So again, thank you for your support. I know that I appreciated you getting it out to the municipalities, and we had some visiting dignitaries. So Lyle, I want to thank you for coming and visiting us.
You're welcome.
And we're getting more volunteers every year. We had some more people show up this year, and actually had some people from the Meadville Rec Foundation board that came and showed up and helped us with processing. So it was really a good event. And again, thank you.
How big of a, we do a 53-foot trailer. How much is I don't know how much is
They had a
8,400 pounds.
53 foot.
Yeah, we have the
Oh, you
same
did?
size trailer. Now, in years past, we pretty much filled it.
Uh-huh.
This year, there was more room to walk around to get things organized, but like I said, it's nice to have a big trailer because especially for the workers where they're sorting things as it comes in, they're trying to sort it and only handle it once if they can. So that worked out really well.
You still get those big console TVs. Remember everyone had those?
You know,
They're hard
less
to
and
get
less.
now.
I have 3 of them.
The deal was there were a couple people that called me and said, you know, if you come and pick them up, we'll donate them. I said, well, we aren't set up to do that. This is a drop-off type event, and certainly if they can get them to our event, we'll help them with getting them off their trucks and trailers and all those things. But we did have some people that did that. They're
Just
still
wondering if
out
they're
there.
still out there. I had an old Curtis Mathis, like 40 years old. I still had a good picture, and that new flat screen just died in 3 years, you know, and it made them different back then.
They did. They were furniture back then.
Yes.
So you plan on doing another one in next year, or are you gonna skip a year?
That, we're gonna for sure decide on that in the next month or two, but I think right now I didn't wanna push the envelope too hard. It's a lot of work for that day, but the goal is to try to make this an annual event where everyone knows to kind of depend on it. Usually it's the first full Saturday in October, but that is subject to the three companies making sure they have staffing and the truck has to be available and all those things.
Okay. But you're not done yet, right?
No,
Okay.
we're not done. I think there's still some more electronics out there.
No, I mean on your next
Oh,
presentation.
I thought you were asking
We
me
gotta talk
that.
about this.
All right, so the latest and newest idea that we've had presented to us at the Rec Authority is a new activity for adults. And the idea is that we still have available ice time that goes unfilled. And my goal is long-term to try to get the ice to be used during the day and some of the later night hours when typically school kids wouldn't be able to use it. So in an effort to do that, what we did was we kind of worked with the local user groups, and we had a number of interested people that wanted to form the French Creek Curling Club. And so they've set this up, and it actually has a website, FrenchCreekCurlingClub.org. So if you want to go check it out. To my knowledge, it's the only place that's going to have curling in probably about a 90-mile radius. There are curling clubs in Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Buffalo, but nothing in Erie, nothing in this area. And we've got ice. They tell us that our ice is actually very, very nice for curling, just because of the coldness and the hardness of it. I guess there's different levels of ice. I've never experimented with other people's ice, but we know that we hear that on the ice skating rink and on the hockey side too. So what we did last night was we had our first Learn to Curl event, and we're going to have another Learn to Curl event October 25th and a third Learn to Curl event on November 1st. And those are one-time events where somebody that just wants to try it can sign up, come and learn about the sport. They don't have to commit to anything else. There is a fee for that is $15 a session, and you just dress warmly, loose-fitting athletic clothes, and you want to bring clean, soft-soled shoes or sneakers. You don't need special equipment. Ideally, you would stretch a little bit beforehand because you might use muscles that you haven't used in a while, right, Zach? Right?
A little bit.
You have to remember that ice is slippery, so you have to be somewhat mindful of how you walk and/or walk quickly when you're sweeping. The good news is I think both of us survived without a fall so far, so we'll keep our fingers crossed. The sessions are from 7 to 9. You can do this online, so if you go to the club, there's an event sign up where you can sign up for the Learn to Curl events. And then the goal is immediately following that, those people who say we want to join a curling league, we're going to have an adult league. It'll be adult focused. Anybody can sign up, but again, it'll be 7 to 9 at night. And the focus on this is to reach out to a different user group than we've had in the past. We do have some night owl hockey leagues that play. Well, now we're going to have some leagues for curling, and the people that came, it's a co-ed sport, co-ed activity, very social, and the idea is to give us something to do during the wintertime that actually helps promote fitness and movement, getting out there and moving around. And I got to tell you, it was actually more of a workout than I thought, because there's one thing to throw the stone, and another thing, when you're actually sweeping, you're moving down the ice fairly rapid pace, and you are actually using your arms quite a bit. So I feel a little bit this morning. But it's something new that will help us, we think, reach a whole different bunch of users out there. And we've had people actually tell us that they've been leaving Meadville to go to Pittsburgh to curl. So now we're going to give them the option of staying home, and I can tell you, once we get this set up, I think we're going to have a lot of good team sponsors. There's companies out there that want to sponsor teams for curling, and we'll see where this takes us. But It's a really nice new idea that should be fairly low cost for the rec. Now, the curling club has invested in a rent-to-own program on the stones themselves. That's usually why you don't see it springing up everywhere. The stones are granite, they only come from certain areas of the world. And it's expensive to invest in the stones, but the rec is not incurring any of that cost.
How many stones do you need?
You need, good numbers here, you need 8 stones for the 2 teams playing on one sheet. We're gonna have 4 sheets going at one time.
Okay.
So basically 4 sets of 8 stones. And like I said, the sweeps and the other things that they call them hacks, it's a little, like, call it starting blocks, where that's where the person that throws the stone. I don't know all the terminology yet, I'm learning that, just so you know.
You could fake it, none of us know either.
Yeah. I've been told that. But you can, like I said, if you wanna come and just observe, if you have no interest in actually doing it, and just wanna see it, we had some observers last night, I was happy they came and supported our efforts, and we thank you. We know it's a busy schedule, Commissioner Soft, but we
Did you
like.
try it?
No, they were.
We were almost wrapping up,
Oh,
so,
okay.
you know. But I will tell you, the good news is he came and he was supporting. We think that this could be really cool, especially if you think about the younger people that we're trying to all reach, like as employers, and I want to reach out and say, hey, here's why you want to live in Meadville. This is a really cool thing that young people would be, not just young people, but for sure, it differentiates our community from other communities.
I will say, to a person, everyone looked like they were having a great time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they really did.
And you know, I like to try new things, but there's trying it and there's would you go back? You know, I tried golf once, didn't work so good. I will tell you that curling, I think, is going to catch on here, and we've got a lot of people that have been waiting to do something as couples
Oh,
during the winter time, and it's a really nice opportunity for people to do that.
curling is, I really like watching it in the Olympics.
It's amazing how many people have told me that. So their ratings for curling must really go through the roof. And this will be an Olympic year, so I can't tell you that we planned it deliberately, but it was a added on bonus that the club wanted to start this year, and we said, of course, if we can get going on that, then we can kind of tie in maybe some of that
Oh, I
Olympic
took the curling
advertising.
program, okay, I have the flyer yesterday, so.
There
Still
seems to be
sign?
a lot of enthusiasm about it. You know, from different people I've talked to, well, we ought to have to join the team, make a team, you know? So maybe we'll.
And team cost will have a lot to do with what how many people sign up. Obviously, if you've got 32 curlers, it's gonna be one set of price. The cost of the stones is fixed for the rental, so when you have a fixed cost like that, if you can get more people that wanna do it, it lowers the cost for everybody, and I'm very, very excited that so far we've got a lot of buzz going on. We really wanna make sure that people that are on the fence come to the Learn to Curl and check it out, and then decide if you want to invest in a session. I think the season will probably last around 10 weeks once they get started. So it'll take you through a good portion of the winter, and something to look forward to on a Wednesday night. And it will be Wednesday nights for this year. That's what we kind of worked out with our other user groups, and they were kind enough to help us realize that if we get more users using the ice at the rec complex, it's better for everybody.
What was those dates again that you have?
The next one is October 25th, and I believe there's still tickets available for that, and then November 1st also. But please, if you're interested, sign up soon, because I do believe that they will sell out.
It's $15.
Yes.
per person, okay.
It can all be done online. FrenchCreekCurlingClub.org.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other business?
Can I say one other thing?
Yes, you can.
I was remiss. That survey, this program includes the authorities and other public entities. I should have said that right up front. It didn't occur to me so.
Thank you.
Okay. If there's nothing else, our next meeting will be in January 18th, the year 2018. Be here at the Chamber office at Diamond Park. I need a motion to adjourn if we're done.
So moved.
Jay, second?
Second.
Second by Christopher. All in favor? Aye. I know there's no opposed. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
12:24, yeah.